Hey, what's up guys? My name is Kyle Warner. Today I'm going to show you how to endo and stoppie. Depending on where you're from, the terminology may change, but in today's video we're going to be referencing an endo as coming to a complete stop with your rear tire in the air, and a stoppie is when you balance on the front wheel and kind of do like a nose wheelie. They're both really fun tricks to learn, and they're great parking lot tricks to show off to your friends. Today I'm going to be showing April how to do an endo and maybe even progress to a stoppie depending on how that goes, so I can't wait to show you guys, and let's bring April in. All right, so we got April out here. And the first thing that I like to tell people when they're trying to get ready to do this is to find a really good area to practice. Today we're out on a basketball court, and the reason we're using this is because it's really nice smooth ground, and then it's bordered by grass. So what April's gonna do is basically find a spot that she feels comfortable rolling in, doing her endo right on the edge where the grass is. That way if anything goes wrong, if she does fall over, then you land on grass instead of concrete. So the other really important thing I like to tell people is to get comfortable using your front brake first. So what that means is before you do any attempts, just ride around, squeeze your front brake, try to come to a complete stop using only the front brake. And this helps in two ways. The first way is that it helps you kind of get an understanding of how hard you can squeeze it. And then the second reason it helps is because it warms up your brake pads and it warms up your braking surface, and it'll help you be more consistent. So I really like when people just take a minute, warm up your front brake, and then go for it. Like I said, these are really fun parking lot tricks to show your friends, and I'm hoping we can get you doing them.
All right.
Cool. All right, well, let's go give it a shot and see how it goes.
All right.
Cool. Go for it again.
Okay.
And just so people know, this is just you trying to do an endo, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't see bounce. Ah.
It's harder than it looks, huh?
Yeah.
All right, you want some help?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you feel like you could get better at, or what do you think you're doing wrong? Do you have any idea?
I feel like, I'm not sure if I should sit or stand,
Okay.
but I feel like I do need to preload the suspension.
Yeah.
And then my timing is probably off.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead. Let's start walking through the different technique. I definitely have some tips that I can help you with. And these things are weird because they look so easy when you see someone do it right. And then it's like, oh man, it's just a whole timing game. And once we get your timing down, you'll do it no problem.
Okay.
The first thing when you're getting ready to do an endo or a stoppie that really helps you out is your bike setup. There's two things I want to touch on bike setup. The first being your gear selection. I like to be in a middle gear in the cassette and a middle gear in the front. The reason for that is that your chain is in a straight line. If you're too far on the hardest gear or in the easiest gear and you come down and go backwards at all, it'll derail a lot easier. So that's why I think it's really important to be in a middle gear. And then the second big one is your seat height. If it's too high and you go to fall over to the side, it makes it really hard to reach. And so it's hard to save. Like say you come down and you need to start leaning, it's a little bit harder to save. And then go all the way down. When it's all the way down, it's a little bit easier to save if you fall side to side, but it takes longer for your bike to come up and make contact with your butt. And I'll explain why that's important in a little bit, because that'll help stabilize your body position. So I like to be about mid-height, depending on how tall you are. So right around there looks good for her. She's in a good position where if she leans, she can still catch herself on her toes, but that'll help the bike come up quicker. Let's go ahead and talk about how to get your rear wheel off the ground. When you're coming in to do an endo or a stoppie, the technique will be the same, but you're gonna be in a neutral standing riding position.
Okay.
So she's standing up in a nice neutral position. She's about centered on the bike. And what she's gonna do first actually is you're gonna put your hips back a little bit, almost like you're in the pumping position. So she's gonna be back like that. And what that does is allows her to get in a nice dynamic position. Her legs are squatted a little bit, her heels dropped, and she's a little bit further back on the bike. This is good because then you can preload, you'll extend your legs, you'll point your toes down, and you'll shift your weight forward. And that will help you get momentum going so your rear wheel will wanna come and lift off the ground. So right there, she's in preload, and then right as she starts to shift forward, that's when she's gonna grab her front brake, and it'll kind of all shift her weight forward. So that'll help you get the rear tire off the ground.
Okay.
You kind of need to get that little bit of lift and that pop up. So think about almost doing like a little rainbow, like up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let's try this again one more time. So on 3, you're gonna go into your preload position and then pop out.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Pop forward. Do you feel that?
Yeah.
So that is the preload position. try just doing a gentle one where you don't do that preload. Just come forward and see what happens, and I'll pull on your bar. So 1, 2, 3. So nothing happens there. When she does that nice preload and that pop, it comes up a lot easier.
Yeah.
All right, so now that you guys know what gear to be in, you know your seat height, and you know how to get that preload and pop, let's talk about where you should be once you're in the Stoppie or the Endo. For me personally, I've always liked to get the bike to come up and contact my butt when I do those. The reason being, it's a lot more stable. So I like to have a really stable base, kind of take my upper body out of it. We'll show you guys an example in a second of what that looks like, but you're gonna eventually need to learn both ways. The first way is to just stand up and do it standing. And then the second way is to get your bike to come up and contact your butt. They both have their own use cases. I'd say that the standing is a little bit better for doing it on the trail. So you're trying to navigate around like a tight switchback or over something awkward. It's really good to just do that in a standing position. The seated position is a lot better for doing stoppies and like nose wheelies because you're so much more stable and it's a lot easier to just focus on modulating your brake. All right, so we'll do a quick example and show you guys the difference between standing and seated.
Okay.
All right, you ready for this, April?
Yeah.
So on 3, she's gonna get in her preload position, pop up, and she's gonna have the bike come up and contact her butt. After that, I'm gonna have her stand and we'll kind of show you the difference in stability.
Okay.
Okay, one good one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is April seated. So look ahead a little bit more. Okay. So that would be a good position there. And now from this position, stand up. So do you feel how much more movement there is?
Yeah.
Okay, now seated. See how much more it stabilizes it?
Yeah.
So, cool.
My foot slips.
It's okay, it's okay. So that's a good example, kind of to show you, you know, the seated position feels a lot more stable, like you're just locked in and you can just focus on your braking and where you're going. The standing position is a lot easier to do on and do like an endo turn or to get over something awkward on a trail. The other thing we want to talk about is where to be looking. So for me personally, I like to be looking when I'm doing an endo, which is like come to a complete stop and do the rear wheel in the air. I like to be looking pretty close to where my front tire is, just a foot or two in front of it. When I'm going to do like a stoppie or a nose wheelie, what I like to do is get in that position, have my chest proud, arms locked, and I like to be looking about 5 to 8 feet in front the whole time. That way I kind of keep myself going instead of looking down and shifting my weight forward.
Okay.
So when you're doing a stoppie like this or an endo, your bike will eventually get to a certain point of no return, which is where it kind of falls over the front and you'll want to go over the front of the bars. There's a few ways to try to get out of this. The easiest being just let go of your front brake. As soon as you start to get too high, just let go of your front brake. I always say it's better to start small, work your way up, and just let go every time rather than to commit too much because that can happen really quick. So yeah, if you start to get too high, let go of your front brake. It'll come down 99% of the time. Or if you do start to go over, I'm really bad at it, but I always like to take a foot off and try to lean one direction. Or if you're really athletic, you can push the bars down and jump over them. I'm not athletic enough to do that, so I try to avoid that one, but I failed earlier, which I'll show you guys. So yeah, bailing kind of sucks on these. That's why we're practicing in the grass. It's really hard to bail and it takes a little bit of practice. So that's why I say start small and work your way up.
All right.
Cool. Well, with all that being said, do you feel like you got a handle on it?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. All right, well, let's go give it a shot and see how April does.
Cool, let's do it.
All right. Send it.
All right.
No, that was good. Oh. So,
Thank you.
yeah, I'll basically, legs are squatted, everything's going on, like I'm here. Right as I start to go forward and I start my extension, then I grab the brake.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, all right, give it a shot. Nice, that was a lot better.
Yeah.
That was a lot better. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a lot better.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was sick. What do you feel like you did different on that one?
I think my timing is getting better after that tip and a little bit more speed and confidence.
Cool. All right, well, what do you want to do? You want to do one better than that, or is that good?
No, I still want to do better.
Okay.
Not like that height felt good, but I want to be able to balance it a little bit, be a little more in control.
Cool. All right. Yeah! No way! That was sick. Oh man, that was really good though.
Thanks.
Were you stoked on how high that was?
Yeah, it felt good. It felt more in control. I wasn't side to side, and it felt like a good height. Yeah.
What was the biggest tip that helped you with doing that? Like, what do you think?
The biggest tip was I was shifting my hips forward rather than up with the same movement that the bike would.
Cool. No, that was like sick. That was a nice one.
Thanks.
Do you think you want to try doing a nose wheelie, or do you feel confident in it or no? Or?
I can try. I don't know if it'll happen. Like, if I do, goal is like maybe a foot.
Okay. The main difference between an endo and a stoppie, the technique is almost identical. The only difference is speed. So on a stoppie, where you're riding on the front wheel, you'll come in a little faster, and also the modulation of the front brake. So if 100% is fully locked wheel and 0% is fully open brakes, you're probably at about 80 to 85% braking power on a stoppie and about 100% on an endo. So that's the really main difference, just a little bit less braking power and a little bit more speed. Okay, so we're gonna go a little faster this time. So a little faster than walking speed. I'm gonna do my preload. This is really tricky, so if it doesn't work out, no pressure at all. But yeah, it's just a fun one to learn. The two biggest tips on this are make sure you have your arms locked, get that seat up to your butt, and then the last tip I guess would be keep your chest proud, pointing forward. If you go like this, it makes the bike wanna go up. If you look down, it makes the bike wanna go up, and that'll end your stoppie. I think you can do it. The key, like I said earlier, is don't squeeze as hard as you were on the endo, squeeze a little bit lighter and focus on that lift.
Okay.
Cool, all right, let's try it. Yeah, that was close actually. That was super close. That was really good. Do exactly the same thing and just a little more confidence, you'll get it.
Okay.
Yeah!
I did it.
That was sick. How'd that feel?
Like, I actually lifted a little bit and moved. Now I just need to, I think, work on getting my hips up again.
Yeah, no, that was perfect. Like, I think, again, if you just maybe had this start point a little back, when you're like looking at that, you'll kind of always stop there. So I think if we just move the start back, you'll get a longer one. Because you did the technique and everything perfect.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna kick these back again a little further. Yeah.
More lift.
That was good though. Hey, like I said earlier, it's better to go a little too little than too much.
Yeah.
Yo! Oh, that was sick.
Thanks.
That was super sick. Good job. What felt different between that and an endo?
Well, more speed, and then I wasn't on my brake as hard, and then mostly mental.
Like, do you mean just having a different goal set ahead of time helped you kind of achieve what you wanted to do?
Yeah.
Because the technique is really similar, right?
Right. Very similar.
Yeah.
And I visualized myself doing it first, and like that's the goal.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe you learned that. That's sick.
Yeah.
All right, so that was pretty crazy, honestly, because I mean, we were out here for a while, so don't let that fool you. Like, we were doing a lot of reps too, but she learned it in just like a few hours. What do you think were the key things that helped you?
The biggest thing that helped me was getting the tip that you said with my hips about getting them up, and like instead of I was like bringing them to the seat, but keeping them with the movement of the bike.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing that helped me. And then like being confident to squeeze the brake hard enough. And then for the stoppie, like moving, the biggest thing was my mental, like how I pictured it. Like if you say, I can't do this, I can't do this, then maybe sometimes that speaks louder than I can do this.
Yeah, totally. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Stoppies and endos are really fun. Just remember, if you start to get too high, just let go of your front brake. I mean, it sucks to fall on these, but that's why I kept telling April, better to not get high enough than to go too high. So just work into it, practice, and she just practiced out here on the basketball court for like 3 hours. So you did really good. I'm proud of you. That was awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. Super fun. If you could click like and subscribe, that helps us a ton. And let us know in the comments if you have any suggestions or if we missed anything that you want some help with. Cool. All right, see you guys later.
Thanks. I was a little bad at that.